In the 19th century, the first color images appeared. This happened in 1861. But color photography only became more common in the mid-1930s. This was the same time when the Nazi regime was rising in Germany. Even so, most images from that period are still in black and white. Not because nothing happened, but because color photography was expensive and rare. In today's video, we break that barrier. We will explore rare color photos from the Nazi era, from 1933 to the war, and finally the fall of the Third Reich. Get ready to see history in a new way. Before we begin, a quick message. Our goal is to reach 1 million subscribers. If you enjoy this content, subscribe, like, and support the channel. Now let's begin. We start far from the battlefield. In Berchtesgaden, in the Bavarian Alps, here many photos were taken by Eva Braun. They show Adolf Hitler in calm, peaceful moments. He is seen with his dog, Blondie. The sky is blue, the mountains are green. In some photos, he wears his uniform. In others, he smiles casually. More than 600 personal photos were taken. They were later found after the war at the Berghof. What makes these images disturbing is not violence. It is the normal life they show. Hitler drinking tea, talking to people, relaxing in the sun, these look like ordinary moments. But at the same time, dark laws were being created. In 1935, the Nuremberg laws were passed. Jews lost their citizenship. Marriage between Jews and Germans was banned. This was the beginning of systematic dehumanization. Nazi rallies also tell another story. They were visually powerful. Red, white, and black colors everywhere. Perfect shapes and massive crowds. It looked beautiful, but also frightening. And that was the purpose. In the early years, many Germans felt hopeful. Children wore uniforms of the Hitler Youth. They looked proud and happy. The economy improved. Unemployment dropped sharply. To many people, the system seemed to work. But another reality existed. In November 1938, violence exploded. This event is known as Kristallnacht. Synagogues were burned. Jewish shops were destroyed. Thousands were arrested. Few color images exist. But witnesses described orange flames and broken glass shining on the streets. The regime controlled what images survived. Now let's look at the key figures. Adolf Hitler is the most known. In color images, we see his blue eyes and pale skin. Later photos show him aging quickly, tired, shaking, and weakened. Next is Heinrich Himmler, leader of the SS. He looks like an ordinary man, but he was one of the main planners of the Holocaust. Then comes Hermann Göring. He wore fancy uniforms and loved attention. Even during trials, he tried to control the room. Finally, Joseph Goebbels, the propaganda minister. He understood the power of images. He knew controlling what people see means controlling what they believe. These men were not monsters from another world. They were human. That is what makes it more disturbing. Now the war begins. In 1939, Germany invaded Poland. Smoke rose over cities like Warsaw. In 1940, France fell. German troops marched through Paris. In 1941, Operation Barbarossa began. Germany attacked the Soviet Union. Mobile killing units followed the army. They killed over 1 million people. Mass executions were common. Then came a turning point. In 1943, the Battle of Stalingrad. German forces began to collapse. Soldiers looked exhausted and broken. This was the beginning of the end. From 1943 to 1944, Germany was heavily bombed. Cities turned into ruins. At the same time, concentration camps continued their operations. Places like Auschwitz and Treblinka. Trains arrived daily, families were separated. Most were killed within hours. There are few color images. But survivors described the scenes in detail. In 1945, the end came. Berlin was destroyed. Soviet forces entered the city. On April 30th, Hitler and Eva Braun committed suicide. Soon after, Germany surrendered. Across Europe, people celebrated. Crowds filled the streets. But in the camps, the truth was revealed. Allied soldiers found starving survivors and piles of bodies. The horror could no longer be hidden. Then came justice. In November 1945, the Nuremberg trials began. Nazi leaders were judged, evidence was shown, documents, films, and testimonies. Some denied everything. Others said they were just following orders. In 1946, sentences were announced. Many were executed. Others were imprisoned. But not all were caught. Some escaped. Some hid for years. The search continued long after the war. These color images remind us of something important. This history was real. These people were real. And the events must never be forgotten. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you in the next video.